I'm Bill Mancaro. I'm president of the PaperSource Incorporated and editor of the PaperSource Journal, our monthly publication. Wanted to spend a few minutes telling you more about a product that I think is really exciting. It's revolutionary, in fact, because of the number of ways it presents the opportunities to create notes. And that's what we're all looking for, is ways to find more notes, creating notes, buying existing notes. It's no problem finding the investors if you have good notes. It's called Owner Will Carry, and it's by Bill Broadbent and George Rosenberg. Now, the late George Rosenberg I knew, and I've known Bill Broadbent for over 20 years, easily 20 years. Bill is a highly, highly respected person in the real estate and note business. He has his own firm, Arnett and Broadbent. Has been a real estate broker and active as a real estate broker for over 40 years. He has a tremendous amount of experience. If you're interested in looking at it, it's on our website as far as what his background is. But I'll give you one example. You've heard the term buyer's brokerage. You're probably familiar with it, where a real estate agent represents the buyer and not the seller in a transaction. Bill developed that concept, and now it's known all over the country, probably in many other countries as well. He's just a tremendous mind. I can't think of anybody better to write about the subject of owner carryback notes. Owner carrybacks, also known as purchase money mortgages, private notes, seller financing, a lot of words for it. They make property saleable. When somebody has trouble selling their property, whether they're high interest rates, tight money credit, whatever the situation might be, they have trouble selling a property. Seller financing, purchase money mortgages, seller-held notes, whatever you want to call them, where the seller takes back the part of the purchase price and acts as the bank, and then creates that note, so it makes it easy for somebody to buy the house or other type of property. And then that note is available for you as an investor or a broker to investors for purchase. What this book does is explain to you, to real estate agents, to property owners, how to do that process. Very simple step-by-step procedures as to how to do that process. It's been a tremendous, I know of people who have bought this book by the caseload, printed it off to give to agents, to give to home sellers, to encourage them to take back notes. We'll go through a little bit about what's in this book. First of all, there is what they call a step payment amortization program that's included with the book, and that is, it shows how, it's software that shows actually how to amortize the loan in various ways. There's also a number of contracts and forms that are included in this, and I have to have a list of them to remember what they are, but there's a large, just a lengthy number of contracts, forms, documents that go with this publication. The principles, and I think it's important to say, the principles involved in this book, Owner Will Carry, would also apply to carrying a note on virtually any asset, including cars, boats, airplanes, mobile homes, businesses with real estate, even stamp collection, tractors, farm equipment, other kinds of equipment, airplanes, just as I mentioned, just a few examples. So the concepts are what's really important to grasp. Even if you don't use it on real estate notes or single-family notes, the concept is what's important to grasp because it's so flexible. It's so many ways to use it. I've got a list of some things. I've made some notes here. I mentioned the forms and contracts, documents. There's an agreement to a performance deed of trust. I'll show you my age here by using my glasses. Collateral note and pledge agreement, credit report authorization for the note purchase, memorandum of note modification, modification of promissory note, non-acceleration letter to lender, plain English promissory note and trust deed, unsecured promissory note with pledge of collateral, notice of balloon payment due, straight note. There's 12 different interactive forms on the download. That means that you can type in the blanks and fit your particular situation. There's also several articles included on the bonus download: the importance of loan to value, the case for step payments, who benefits from step payments, donating a note to charity, various other things. The book begins by defining what a seller carryback note is, and then discuss the terms that are used in this, so we're all on the same page for it. They talk about the benefits of why someone would want to carry back a note. Then the next chapter deals with negotiating a real estate transaction, negotiating the note, particularly on the real estate transaction, what the terms are, better terms to make a note more marketable, more interest to an investor, explaining the time value of money, giving examples of seller carryback note financing, what's good, what isn't good, items to consider when making up a note, what items should be in a note, interest, how much is too much interest, what's illegal interest, how do you find that out for your particular state and the type of transaction. It's a complicated subject. Late charges, what can you do, what can't you do, how do you find out in your area what's okay. These are things that the real estate agent and the title company people can help you with. Alternative financing structures. Are 2 or 3 carryback notes better than only 1? Protective equity. How much down payment should there be? What should the terms of the note be? Should it be 30-year note, 15-year note, 5-year note with a balloon? What's the best? The bottom line is, what is the highest price that the seller will be able to get for this note? And to do that, you have to have the kind of terms that investors are interested in. Obviously, a note that has no payments and no interest and is due in 100 years is not going to be very valuable to an investor, is it? Of course not. So that's an extreme example, but is it better to have a 20-year note that's all amortized, or a 15-year note interest only with a balloon? Questions like that are answered in the book. And then there's a whole chapter on balloon payments and how do you handle a balloon payment if it comes due early. Then there's a chapter on exchanging, selling, borrowing against a note, agency issues involving trust deeds and mortgages. Are you an agent of the seller? Are you an agent of the investor? Are you an agent at all? Questions like that. There's agency law. He talks about agency law. What's wrong with an 80-10-10 sale? Perhaps you don't even know what an 80-10-10 sale is, but it's explained in there, and find out what's wrong and what's right about it. How to reduce the seller's risk when carrying back a note. And if sellers need to read any chapter, it's that chapter, how to reduce their risk when carrying back a note. Then another chapter on a no money down transaction versus a nothing down deal. Is there a difference? Yeah. What's the substitution of security mean? Substituting collateral. And then there's a checklist before you agree to carry back a note or before you buy an existing note, laying the groundwork by examples for points that are discussed in the book. Bill Broadbent shows his personal list that he's developed over, say, 40 years of 15 points to check before carrying back a note, buying a note, or funding a loan. It's a very, very important chapter. There's a chapter on using multiple notes for flexibility, another chapter on other uses for trust deeds and mortgages, a whole chapter on mobile home notes, a chapter on tips for selling your business and taking back a safe and saleable note. So there's all sorts of information in this book, plus the downloads, and for the price, it's an absolute steal, as I think you can. I don't need to convince you of that after all that. It's called Owner Will Carry. It's under tabs on our website. It's under Finding Notes. It's also under ebooks. Owner Will Carry. Go to papersourceonline.com and you'll find it there, or you can call us at 1-800-542-2270.